Today I'm going to talk about my high gain amps. One question which seems to be quite interesting for many people is which of your high gain amps is your favorite? And I decided to put out a video where I would give you my thoughts about these heads which I own, and I don't play these heads in this video because I put out a shitload of videos where I was introducing each head, but I could like to give you 2 or 3 facts about each head which I think are remarkable, and at the end of the video I will tell you which one is my favorite. So let's start over here, and we have of course the rack here, which I will not talk about today, so it's just about the heads. Here we have the angle heads. Let's start with the Angle Savage. The Angle Savage is an amp. This is the version 1. Currently you can get the version 2, but the version 1 doesn't come with a noise gate, so it is quite noisy. You need something in addition. It has tons of gain, so it doesn't need to be boosted. But that said, it's not the most flexible amp in the world because the gain controls here, they affect each other. So you have control over each gain stage, but it's not that you have 4 channels with separate gain stages. And also there are some knobs here which don't do anything to the sound, like the high balance doesn't do that much. So it has quite a unique sound, but I personally prefer the Powerball. Powerball sounds a little bit more, well, it has its own sound which you don't find in other heads, so it's very unique. Maybe you can describe it as a very tight low end and lots of highs. Can get scooped, so it needs to be boosted in the mids. It has this flexible mid control here, which so this is the lead section where you can set both the mid control and the mid boosted control separately, and then you can switch in between the mid and the mid boosted. So basically you have 2 mid settings which you can dial in separately from each other. And you have in this version, the version 2, you have also 4 gain controls for each channel, so you can assign different gain values to each channel, which makes it very flexible. So this is, in my opinion, almost a 4-channel head, except that the first 2 channels they share this EQ, and the second 2 they share this EQ, but yeah, they sound, they're well balanced. And this is an upgrade to the version 1, which you can see here has only 2 gain controls, so it's basically 2-channel amp, and every channel has a boost function. It also has the mid boost and mid open. Here it's called mid focus and mid open. Yeah, but you have 2 separate gain channels. These angle amps, they come with a power tube monitor, where you can see when some power tube is not working, which is nice. And what you can say about all of the angle amps, which I know, they come with tons of gain and they come with a great clean channel. They're not that well for crunch tones, so you don't need to boost them necessarily. The Powerballs come with a noise gate, which is very nice. Yeah, but other than that, that's it about the angle amps. And if you don't want to tweak your amp a lot, these sound pretty good with everything at stock settings at 12 o'clock, at least the Powerballs. I have another angle head here, which is the retro tube. It's a little bit more, well, supposed to be a little bit more retro sounding, but it can also do high gains. It has a very full, rich tone, It's a little bit more simple. As you can see, 2 channels with 2 gain controls. Each channel can be boosted, pretty much like the tube preamp here, the 530. And it comes with a noise gate. It sounds kick-ass, very nice for leads in my opinion. So let's continue with this amp, the Blackstar 100 series 606 version, 4 channel head. It sounds great, but to be honest, it's my least favorite amp of all of these because I don't know, there's something with the tone stack that is unique. Of course, every amp has a unique tone stack, but this is something which I personally, well, it's not addressing the frequencies which I like. And also it comes with this, how is it called? ISF function, where you can choose from what is supposed to be American sounding and well, switch it to a little bit more British sounding. It also it adds flexibility to the overall character, that's for sure. Is it something which I personally need? I would rather like to have an amp which sounds good in my ears, which is like this one, than an amp which I can tweak and that sounds maybe 70 or 80% how I want it to sound. Comes also with a flexible power amp control here, which is nice. So overall, the Blackstars are voiced a little bit unique, a little bit thin sounding. They can get a little bit harsh sounding. So here you have, of course, the Recto. This is the 3-channel version. The Recto, well, if you would like to use it for high gains, you have to boost it, I think. Then it sounds great, but it has huge amounts of low end and huge amounts of high end, which you have to like if you, or you have to deal with if you got this amp. Very unique sounding amp. Not the best for leads in my opinion, because for leads maybe the mids are more important, but for, well, huge walls of crunch tones, this is the way to go. And also, of course, if you boost it with a pedal, you can get kick-ass metal tones. The effects loop in this version is not working really well, has to be said, and also you cannot switch the channels here from the front plate, so you have to use this pedal. Overall, it's an amp that is okay, but these amps are very overpriced, especially for what you got here in Europe. I mean, this amp about maybe 3,500 euro, and for example, you can get the Powerball 2 for 1,400, which offers more features and sounds more balanced overall. Anyway, here is the PV6505, also great amp, which is very iconic. You can boost it, of course, here in the rhythm channel. Then it can also deliver high gains in the rhythm channel. It has a bright and crunch, and it doesn't come with a pristine clean tone. But what you can do with this amp, as it has a good working effects loop, you can run the 4-cable method as I do with the Boss here, and then you can just disable the preamp for cleans and just play from your effects unit directly into the power amp, so you have great cleans then. Resonance and presence are very powerful here, use huge amounts of low end, and also you have to consider you have only the post control here, which is the volume for the channel. You don't have one control for the master volume of the amp. Kick-ass sounding amp, yeah, one of my favorites. Here you have the JSX. Let me put away this guitar. And all the PVMs, also the XXX, they are voiced a little bit different from the 6505, but you can definitely hear the character of the PVMs in each of them. I personally like these a lot, but these amps here, the XXX and the JSX, they come with a master volume in comparison to this amp, and also with a layout that has 3 channels. Pristine clean, in both of these amps, and here of course EQs for each channel, gain control, and the only difference which I see at the moment are here the fat switch in the JSX and also the noise gate, but the noise gate isn't that effective in the JSX, and also the fat switch, well, I don't know if you need that. These amps, XXX and JSX, they sound a little bit more cultivated, as this sounds more raw in my opinion. But other than that, they're great amps, a little bit easier to use. What I like to do with these amps is to crank everything here at 210. You can do this with the EQs and the PVMs, at least in these two amps. Recommend to play around with that. Here we have the Marshall JVM, very flexible amp, but it has a very unique voicing, especially in the high gain channels. So it has 4 channels, as you may know, and each channel comes with 3 modes. Very flexible, very well thought. It comes with MIDI, which makes it very well, easy, controllable in a live situation. Built-in reverb, which you don't need necessarily in my opinion, but it's an amp which can deliver great cleans and crunch tones, and that is the difference to, well, some of the other high gain amps. So if you're talking about cleans and crunch tones, I would say this is one of the best, and well, this one, as I said, it can deliver great crunch tones, not so cleans, but with the 4-cable method it's possible. And this amp is also great for crunches. These amps, they cannot deliver great crunch tones, at least I cannot get them to sound very well in the crunch situation. Especially for these light crunch tones with a little bit of a chorus. They have a good sounding clean channel here, but also the clean channel isn't that flexible. It sounds how it sounds, and you cannot tweak it or make it sound like maybe another clean amp. So this is way more flexible for cleans and crunches. It has high gain channels. Some people say maybe they're too fizzy. I recommend to play around a lot here with the EQ, because it's very flexible, and even if you crank the mids here, the bass, dial back the treble a little bit, and then you have a totally different tone. Comes with tons of gains, so you don't need to run these channels at a very high gain setting. This is the Hughes & Kettner Triumph Mark III, sorry, and it's the most flexible amp of all the amps I own. It comes with 6 channels, and each channel can be assigned via MIDI. And also you have a stomp boost, which is designed well, separately from channel to channel. So and you have 3 power amps which you can select here. So one is currently equipped with EL34s and 2 are equipped with 606s, which makes the amp of course really flexible, and you can just, well, do a comparison if maybe turn off the EL34s and turn on the 606s, and then you can see how much of a difference the power amp makes to the sound. Comes also with the tube control, but it's on the back side here, the 4 lights, where you can see if all the tubes are running properly. So really flexible amp. And yeah, of course we have this one, we forgot it. This is a modeling head, so it's a little bit out of the competition in my opinion. Also here the Boss Katana. And also I have another one, which is the Marshall DSL in the basement, and also a Randall. But just from the tube amps here, if you're asking me which is your favorite, so I would have to say sound-wise, or the overall favorite amp, as you may guess, is the Triumph Mark III, because this amp can basically do everything you need and more. It's very flexible to control, and it can also sound phenomenal in every category. For example, You can dial in Fenderish cleans, you can dial in Voxish cleans if you want it, you can dial a little bit edge of breakup tones, you can dial in JCM 800 kind of tones. With the Stomp boost, it sounds like maybe a boost JCM 800. You don't need to buy an additional pedal. It also can sound like maybe a very modern high gain amp. It cannot sound like a dual rectifier, and it doesn't sound like maybe the Marshall JVM, but other than that, it sounds really convincing in, well, every category in my opinion. So this would be my favorite amp tube head for actually all categories. But if you're just needing high gain tones or maybe clean tones, I would say the overall high gain tone which I like most is the 6505. Also without the boost it sounds great, with the boost it sounds great. Also for crunch tones it sounds great. Maybe you know the sound from many iconic albums, but yeah, this would be, I think, my second choice just for the pure high gain tone. So other than that, well, it's very hard because of course the other amps here, they can deliver high gain tones, and the power balls are easy to dial in, also the JSX, Triple X. Marshall is not so easy to use in a high gain situation, and it has its very own tone, which on some days I like and on other days maybe I don't like. Also it depends on the guitar a lot, I think. I'm not the biggest fan of the Recto, and yeah, also the Angus Savage. It has a very unique voicing. Sounds good, has nice mids, but overall I've not played it a lot. So I think when I switch on one of these heads and I play them a long time, just enjoy playing, then that would be my sign that I like the amp and the overall sound. And that was the case especially with the PVs and also with the Triumph Mark III. So yeah, these were my favorites, and I hope this makes sense for you, and it helps you if you are looking for a good sounding high gain amp. Of course, there are other high gain amps on the market, but actually I don't play these amps a lot. As you may know, I play modeling units most of the time, and also of course the rack units, they can sound great. I like the Tri-Axis a lot, but yeah, so that's it for today. I'm always thinking if I should buy another high gain head or something, but currently I don't have any kind of inspiration. Maybe I will get the other Hughes and Kettner heads in the future because I like these Triumph Mark III so much. But if you have an inspiration for me which amp I should get, then please post it in the comment section below. Oh, sorry. And yeah, other than that, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and have a great winter, summer, whatever it is in your country. Bye.